guys, today we're going to be going over how to solve quadratic equations by graphing. First of all, when working these types of problems, you can come across three types of problems. You can come across one that's going to give you two solutions. This is where when you graph it, it's going to cross your x-axis at 1, 2 places, therefore two solutions. You could also get one that has one solution, meaning it crosses, or in this case, touches the x-axis at 1 point, okay, therefore one solution. And then the last one you could possibly get is one that is no solution, meaning it crosses on the x-axis nowhere, therefore no solution. So in this example, we're going to be graphing this quadratic equation right here, and it's going to give us either 2, 1, or 0 solutions. Okay. What makes this a quadratic equation is going to be this squared right here. Anytime you have a squared in something you're going to graph, you're going to be getting a parabola, which is any graph that makes a U or an N. Okay, so just a fair warning, if you are ever graphing a quadratic function that has a squared in it, and for some reason when you graph it, you're getting a straight line, something's gone wrong, okay? It should always have some sort of curve to it. Okay, so let's look how to actually solve this. Okay, so I've chosen 7 points here. I'm all on the 7 different points for x. We're gonna take these and we're gonna plug it into our original equation here. So I'm going to take our original equation, which is x squared plus 2x minus 3. I'm just going to plug in these values I've chosen for x into the equation. So now instead of saying x squared, I'm going to say 2 squared plus 2. Instead of saying 2x, I'm going to say 2 times 2, and then of course minus 3. So once again, all I'm doing is just taking this equation. Instead of saying x, I'm plugging in these new values for x that I've chosen. When you plug these in, make sure you put the parentheses or whatever number you've chosen. Okay, so I'm just going to fill in the rest of this. 1 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 3. 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 3. Negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 3. Negative 2 squared plus 2 times negative 2 minus 3. Negative 3 squared plus 2 times negative 3 minus 3. Negative 4 squared plus 2 onto negative 4 minus 3. Okay, so now I have this all filled out. I'm going to go through and simplify these. 2 squared is 4. 2 times 2, of course, is 4. Minus 3, it's going to give us 5. 1 squared is 1. Plus 2 minus 3, it's going to give you 0. 0 plus 0 minus 3, it's going to give you negative 3. 1 minus 2 minus 3 is going to give you negative 4. 4 minus 3 is going to give you negative 3. 9 minus 6 minus 3 is going to give you 0. 16 minus 8 minus 3 is going to give you 5. Okay, so now, this point, because we had 2 over here, this is going to become 2, 5, because we found that this equation equaled 5. We're going to do the rest. Okay, 1, 0, 0, negative 3, negative 1, negative 4, negative 2, negative 3, negative 3, 0, and lastly, negative 4 and 5. Okay, so now we're going to plot these 7 points. Keep in mind on all of these, it's always read as x, then y. So in graphing, we're going to look at the x-axis first and then the y. Okay, so this one, we're going to go over positive 2 up positive 5. Okay, over 1 at 0. Okay, 0, negative 3, negative 1, negative 4, negative 2, negative 3, negative 3, 0, negative 4, positive 5. Okay, so I know this is a rough estimate, but you can at least see if we connect all of these dots. Okay, we see that it made a U, right? So we know it made a parabola, so we know we're on the right track. Okay, keep in mind we're looking for the solution. So in other words, we're just looking for where it crosses here at the x-axis. Okay, so right here it looks like it crosses at x equals 1. If we look right here, it also crosses at x equals -3. Okay? So this equation will have two solutions, and how you would write that is x equals, in a brace, 1 comma -3, and this right here would be your final answer. Of course, along with the graph showing your work, but this is your final answer showing your solutions. Hey guys, so here's another example of graphing a quadratic function. Okay, so this one I just wanted to point out so you're aware, when your x squared is negative, it's going to be an n because it's negative. When your x squared is positive, that's when it's going to give you a u. So just so you know, once again, if you're graphing this on your homework and it's a negative x squared, and for some reason you've made it a u, something's gone wrong, okay? Because we're looking for an n when it's negative. Okay, so once again, same concept. We've picked 1, 2, 3, 4. We picked 7 points we're going to plug in for x, okay, to give us some coordinates to graph. So we're going to say -8 squared. Keep in mind, anytime you're replacing x, you're always going to put it in parentheses again, okay? Negative x squared minus 10 onto -8 minus 25. Okay, fill out the rest. We have -7 squared minus 10, -7 minus 25. Okay, so same thing as last time now. We're just going to go through and simplify now that we've got everything all filled out. Okay. -8 squared, it's going to give you -64 plus 80 minus 25. That should give you, let's see here, -64 plus 80 is going to give you 16. Minus 25 is going to give you -9. And this one we have a -49 plus 70 minus 25. That's going to give you 21 minus 25 is going to give you -4. -36 plus 60 minus 25 is going to give you 24 minus 25 will give you -1. And once again, you can always do this on your calculator. I'm just showing you an example. This will be -25 plus 50 minus 25. It's going to give you 0. It's going to be a -16 plus 40 minus 25. It's going to give you -1. This is going to be -9 plus 30 minus 25. That's going to give you -4. Okay. And lastly, we're going to have a -4 plus 20 minus 25. That's going to be giving you a -9. Okay, so once again, this right here, our points we're going to be graphing are -8, -9, -7, -4, -6, -1, -5, 0, -4, -1, -3, -4, and lastly, -2, -9. Once again, keep in mind, anytime we're graphing a coordinate, it's read as xy. So you're going to be looking at the x-axis, then the y. Okay, so -8, -9. Okay, we have -7, -4. We have -6, -1, -5, 0, -4, -1, -3, -4, and -2, -9. Okay, so once again, if we connect all of these points, we see that it's resembling an n, okay, which is what we're looking for, right? Because -x squared means it's going to be, well, first of all, squared's going to tell you it's a problem, meaning it's a U or an N, and then since it's a negative, meaning it's going to be an N because it's upside down. Okay, so we know this is right. Now let's look where it crosses the x-axis to find our solution. Okay, so it doesn't actually have to cross, doesn't have to go through the x-axis to be considered a solution. It can even just touch or be sitting on it like it is here. So we see in this example, we're only going to have 1. We have x equals -5. Because this parabola, it's resting on -5. So once again, for your final answer, it's going to be x equals, in a brace, -5. And that right there is your final answer. Okay guys, and one last example here of a quadratic function. And this one we're going to be getting no solution, so I want you to see what happens when you get a no solution. Okay, so once again we have -x squared. We know because of the squared, we're getting a u or an n. And of course, because the x squared is negative, we know it's supposed to be an n. Okay, so we want to make sure our final graph resembles an n on this graph, okay? So same thing, we've picked 7 points here. I'm going to plug in x, and this is the original equation. Okay? Keep in mind when you're plugging in a number, you are putting parentheses around it. When you replace x with any number, you're always putting that number in parentheses. So we're going to rewrite this as negative, parentheses 1 squared, plus 8, parentheses 1, minus 17, and then the exact same thing for the remaining points. Now that we've filled in all this, we're going to go through it simplified to get, of course, our y coordinate. Okay, negative 1 squared is going to give us -1 plus 8 minus 17. It's going to leave us with -10. Okay, -2 squared will give you -4 plus 16 minus 17. That's going to give us -5. It's going to give us -9 plus 24 minus 17, that's going to give us -2. Right here we have -16 plus 32 minus 17, that's going to give you -1. And this will be -25 plus 40 minus 17, that'll give you a -2. We have -36 plus 48 minus 17, it's going to give you -5. And lastly, we have -49 plus 56 minus 17. It's going to give you -10. Okay, so our coordinates we're going to be graphing are 1, -10, 2, -5, 3, -2, 4, -1, 5, -2, 6, -5, and lastly 7, -10. Once again, just a reminder, when graphing coordinates, you read it as xy, meaning you look at your x-axis first and then your y. Okay, so let's graph these coordinates. We have 1, -10, we have 2, -5, 3, -2, 4, -1, 5, -2, 6, -5, and 7, -10. Okay, so once again, we're going to connect all of those points. Okay, well we see it resembles something of an N, which is what we're going for, so we know we graphed it correctly. But now if you notice, it doesn't cross the x-axis anywhere. Okay, so if it does not cross the x-axis anywhere, no solution. Okay, so keep in mind, the symbol that denotes no solution is just a 0 with a line through it.